Everybody?
Yeah.
Yes. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our dumpling making workshop. Okay, first I'd like to ask a question. So did you have dumplings on Lunar New Year day this year? Did you have dumplings?
Yes, I do.
Yes. Okay. Anybody made their own dumplings from scratch?
My mom did one.
Okay.
My mom did some. Yeah.
Okay. So today we're gonna have fun making dumplings. Today we're actually making some creative ones instead of the traditional ones you will see at restaurants or supermarkets. So first, let's look at the shape of dumplings. So what can you think of when you look at dumplings? Is there something that dumplings reminds you of?
Oh, by the way, Zeyu, sorry, let me just remind everyone. So some of them are muted now, but if you want to speak, you can mute yourself. And if you have any question along the program, you can ask the instructor right away. If you don't have enough time, you can type in the chat box. We can ask her for you as well. Okay, sorry. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. By looking at the shape of the dumplings, is there something that you can think of? What do dumplings look like to you? Or I should ask the question this way.
Seems like a shell.
A shell.
Like a shell. I'm not sure, but it looks like a shell from what I'm seeing. Or a boat.
Good guess. Anything
And
else?
also someone says here, I learned that they are lucky because they are shaped like gold nuggets.
Gold nuggets, yes. Okay. Okay, later on, we're gonna look at a story. And from that story, you will be able to see the origin of dumplings. Okay, and also I saw half moon. This is also a good symbol. Okay, so according to the legend, during the Eastern Han Dynasty, a famous physician of traditional Chinese medicine, Zhang Zhongjing, invented dumplings. That was a long time ago, about 1800 years back. So Zhang was returning to his home in a very cold winter. And during that time, a disease was turning into an epidemic, just like what we're experiencing over the past year. Many people died because of frostbite, mainly around their ears. And also, many people didn't have enough warm clothes and food to survive through this cold winter. So seeing so many people suffering from this disease, Zhang decided to do something to fight this frostbite. So what he did was cooking lamb, black pepper, and a few herbs. Then he shredded these ingredients and wrapped them in the wrappers that made of flour. And because the villagers were suffering from the frostbite on their ears, so Zhang intentionally shaped these dumplings like ears. So to make sure the dumplings are fully cooked, he boiled them in hot soup. And everybody was given 2 dumplings and a bowl of warm soup. And a miracle, or as they say, a miracle happened. So after just a few days, the frostbite disappeared and this epidemic was under control. So in memory of this magical dish, dumplings was originally called jiao. It was originally called jiao er, which means beautiful ears. Jiao er, beautiful ears. So later on, many people followed Zhang's recipe with other ingredients such as veggies and all kinds of meats such as lamb, pork, chicken, shrimp to make dumplings to celebrate Chinese New Year. And Chinese dumplings are an essential part of Chinese culture, and these auspicious dumplings served during Lunar New Year's Eve symbolize the promise of a prosperous year. So some families, they will even put a coin inside just 1 or 2 dumplings out of all the dumplings they make during Lunar New Year's Eve. So if somebody gets this dumpling, they are the luckiest person for that year. And recently, people have new inventions. So they're very creative. So this one is actually very easy to make. If we have opportunities, we can learn this kind of dumplings next year in our next workshop, dumpling making workshop. But today, we're gonna make something special. It's called the golden egg hog shrimp dumplings, 黄金蛋爆虾饺. We can say it together if you would like to unmute yourself. 黄金蛋爆虾饺，黄金蛋爆虾饺。对，今天我们要做的菜是黄金蛋爆虾饺。So we have 2 options. Option 1, dumpling roses. So it's perfect dish for Valentine's Day because usually the Lunar New Year comes very close to Valentine's Day. So I highly recommend this dish for you if you have your Valentine. Okay, and another option is this one. So you can see I wrapped the shrimp inside of the dumplings. So the shape is more like the pot stickers. Today I'll be showing both. So if you have the complete shrimp at home, you can try this one. And if you have other ground meat, so I have some ground turkey here. So if you have some ground meat, you can try to make dumpling roses. Okay. 好，现在我们来看一下需要的食材。And now we can look at ingredients. 首先，我们需要肉馅，肉馅。So it's optional. You can use ground pork, ground beef, ground chicken, turkey, anything else. If you are vegetarian, you can choose to use some tofu. 还需要虾。So as I said before, if you have the complete shrimp, you can try this option. And if you just want to use your ground meat, you can try to make the dumpling roses. 好，还需要鸡蛋，鸡蛋 2 or 3 eggs. If you really love eating eggs, you can choose to crack 3 in our dish. Okay. 好，还需要一些其他的食材，有葱、姜、蒜。So if you really hate the smell of ginger, don't put too much, or you can just get rid of it. For me, I just put some scallion and garlic. 你可以只放葱和蒜。You can just put 1 or 2 scallions and some minced garlic. 好，还需要的是酱油 soy sauce. 酱油 soy sauce. So if you don't have soy sauce at home, you can just use salt instead. 料酒 料酒. So cooking one is just used to remove the raw smell from the meat. So if you don't have cooking one, feel free to use any alcohol at home. Maybe some red wine or white wine will work. 好，还需要一点点的砂糖 1 teaspoon of sugar, and 1 teaspoon of salt, and 1 teaspoon of cornstarch. 好，and for garnishing the final dish, we need some sesame seeds. So this is totally optional. And also if you have some pepper powder, that would be great. The most important thing is dumpling wrappers. 好，至少需要6个或者是8个。So if you have 6 to 8 dumpling wrappers, that's perfect for this one. So for this one, you only need probably 6 to 10 wrappers. But for this one, each dumpling rolls requires 4 pieces. So for this one, I used 16, actually, yes, 16 wrappers for this one. 好，现在呢，我们就开始做吧。So, and now you can get ready and head to your kitchen. Okay, now let's prepare the stuffing. So now I have. So Kaiti, can you spotlight my other video?
Yeah, I'm doing it. I'll take care of it. Let me just get over to your other
Yes,
screen.
thank you.
No problem. And I could put both up at once. So I could just add it or I could replace it. Do you want it added or replaced?
Maybe add it.
Let's see how that looks. Is that good?
Okay, perfect. That's perfect.
Great.
Okay, so now I have my ground meat. If there's some extra water, just get rid of that. You can see that I highlighted 2 ingredients, the meat and salt. So if you don't have other ingredients available to you, you can just choose to put this 2. Okay. Now I'm going to put the minced garlic.
We don't see the other view that of the camera. We only see the ingredients and you.
Oh, ingredients and you.
Okay, let me just do that. Hold on a second. Okay, let me do it again. Hold on a sec.
Okay.
How's that? Is that good?
Yeah,
Can everyone see now?
now we see the ingredients and then the real life ingredients, but not her.
We don't see we do not see the speaker.
You see, she wants you to see what she's doing, so you can hear her, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Great.
Yes. Okay. So now I'm going to put the minced garlic and minced scallion into the meat. And 1 teaspoon of salt. And 1 teaspoon of sugar. You don't want to put too much sugar because this shouldn't be too sweet. And 1 teaspoon of soy sauce. So I use dark soy sauce because this can add the color to the food. And if you don't have soy sauce available, you can just put some salt instead. You can leave that. And I also have some oyster sauce. So this is oyster flavor sauce. It doesn't taste like oyster, raw oyster. It's just to add some extra flavor to the food. So for oyster sauce, dark soy sauce, or cooking wine, you can get these ingredients from any Asian supermarket. Yes, yes.
Excuse me. I'm just thinking, maybe if you stop sharing the screen, then we can see you in full view.
Okay, I see.
The picture will be bigger for everybody to see. If you could stop sharing your slide.
Okay, I see.
There we go. Great.
Okay, so now I'm adding some cooking wine. So after you put everything, all the ingredients together in a bowl, you can mix it up. looks like this. So if your filling gets really sticky and hard, you can add 1 egg or half an egg into the filling. But now I think my filling looks pretty smooth, so I don't need extra liquid to the filling. So now if you can smell it, it should smell pretty good with all the flavors, seasoning. Okay. So now I will be starting with the dumpling roses. So before doing that, we need to prepare the paste. So we need to prepare a flour paste. So all you need is 2 ingredients. So 2 teaspoons of flour and 2 teaspoons of water.
Zeyu, we have a question. Where do you get the dumpling wrappers?
Oh, the dumpling wrappers. Actually, I just got the wrappers from a regular supermarket. It doesn't really have to be an Asian or Chinese or Korean one. I think if you can ask the assistants, they can tell you. It's usually pretty easy to find. And also you can find some wonton wrappers, the square one.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, so I will also show you how to make the dumpling wrappers at the end of this workshop. But that takes a long time. So if you don't want to spend too much time working on the dumpling wrappers, you can just directly buy these from the store. So I just got these from the market.
Great.
So usually it's about $2 to $3 for 1 package. And one disadvantage for the ready made up dumpling wrappers is they can get dry very easily. So that's why we are making this paste. So this paste is just to keep the wrappers, the ends of the wrappers together. We will use this paste later on. So very simple, 2 teaspoons of flour and 2 teaspoons of water. You're just going to mix it up. Okay, we can leave that aside. And now we're going to place 4 dumpling wrappers on the cutting board and make sure your cutting board is really dry. 1, 2, 3.
So Rachel in the chat says, my grandma makes them with flour and water, but we sometimes buy them at the Asian store. Oh, this is Brandon, age 9. Thank you, Brandon, for sharing that.
Thank you. I usually get very lazy. So my mom never buys the dumpling wrappers from store. She always makes dumplings from scratch. Okay, so here you have 4 dumpling wrappers on your cutting board. And if you really want them to stick together, so between each one, you can put a little bit the paste on it. So you can use a brush if you have one. If you don't have a brush, you can just use a fork, a spoon, anything to just give it a little touch. And they can be stick together. When I first made these dumplings, I didn't really use the paste to keep them together. So if you can follow all these steps, I believe that you will make beautiful dumpling roses. Okay, and the last piece. So now you can see that I have placed 4 pieces on the cutting board. Okay, so if you have any questions, feel free to unmute yourself and raise your questions.
And Jim
Okay,
has
yes.
just mentioned that H Mart has the
H-Mart,
wrapper.
absolutely, yes. Okay. So now we're going to place a very thin layer of stuffing down the middle part of the wrappers. And be careful not to overfill. So you don't want your roast dumplings to explode when you are cooking them. So I'm using a pair of chopsticks. You can use spoon, you can use fork, anything that you feel comfortable with. So starting from here, in the middle part of the first wrapper, and then just fill out the rest of them. So if you are making the dumpling wrappers from scratch, you can actually use some food coloring or some natural food coloring to color your dough. So you can make pink dumpling roses or orange one, purple one, blue one, or green one. So my FF student, she made some pink dumpling wrappers and her roses look fantastic. Okay, so now I have placed a thin layer of stuffing down the middle part of the wrappers. And now I'm going to fold the edges together. So from the bottom to the top. So just like what I'm doing now. And carefully fold the edges together. Okay, now the rose is going to show up. So I'm going to fold from this side to the other side. So just roll tightly from one side to another side. Okay, there we go.
That is beautiful. Oh my God.
So now we have this rose. So I have a very small one. You can control the volume for your filling. So if you like a bigger one, you can actually put more to it, but just have a moderate amount of it. And now I'm going to use some of the paste to seal the ends. So if you have some of these paste, you can put here. And also you can just use your fingers, it doesn't matter. So now I can seal the end together. And pinch it. And there you go. If you can adjust the wrappers, so you can make a beautiful dumpling rose. So actually when you fold the dumpling wrappers, you don't have to fold really in a nice, neat way. You can have some irregular shapes. So it looks like the actual rose. So there you go, a beautiful dumpling
Beautiful.
rose.
That is really amazing.
Okay, this is the first one. The first one. Okay, now I'm going to make the second one. So I plan to make 3 dumpling roses, and later on I'm going to show you how to make the pot stickers with the whole shrimp. Okay, again,
And everybody's commenting how beautiful they are.
Yes, and it's really easy to make. And if you have children at home, or you want to make with your friends, your colleagues, or couple, it's perfect for dating, for any occasions, I think. I think cooking is half of the fun, so I really enjoy cooking. And also I love seeing my parents cook when I was little. So after you put the dumpling wrappers, make sure that you put this in the back so your dumpling wrappers won't get dried up. So now I'm going to put some flour paste on the edges. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Because we want to cook the dumpling roses really well, so if you put 5 wrappers, that would be a little hard to cook, especially for the middle part. So 4 is perfect number. And also in Chinese culture, we really like numbers that are not odd. So we love 2, we love 4, we love 6, we love 8, we love 10.
Zeyu, Diane
Yes.
has a question. Are there different size wrappers in the same package? Because a couple look smaller.
Okay, so as long as they are round, I think they're circular. It's a circle. I think that would be fine. I think this wrapper is about this size. So you can see this is my palm. And that is the wrapper. Almost the size of my palm, I think. I believe that there are some bigger ones and smaller ones, but I think you can literally make any roses. It doesn't matter.
I think
The size.
I think she was saying they were in the same package. So Diane,
Oh.
is that your package, or are you commenting on, you can unmute, are you commenting on Zeyu's?
No, I'm commenting on what she's using. The first one of it looked much smaller.
Oh, I see.
The one on the left, that looks oval shaped.
Oh, yeah, I see. Because this is because the angle from my camera. So if I put it like this, so if I place it like this, you'll be able to see that they are the same size.
Okay, yes.
Yes. Good question. Okay, because I have to adjust it so you can see that this is not horizontal. Okay. So now this one will be much bigger than that one because I put more filling in the middle part. So now I'm going to fold the edges together. Okay, and now you're gonna roll tightly from one side to another. Okay, another beautiful rose. And put some paste on the ends. Give it a pinch. You can seal the end together. And now what you're gonna do is to adjust the wrappers to make the shape of the flower. So you can see this one is a bigger size than this one, than the first one. I love the second one. The bigger, the better.
Looks beautiful and delicious.
Yes, so for the first time, I would recommend you to make a smaller one because later on, you're gonna be more experienced and skilled in making them. Okay, I think because of the time limit, I'm just going to make 2 over here. And now I'm going to move on to show you how to make the shrimp pot sticker. So right here, I have some shrimp. As you can see, I have the shell on and also the tail. So now I'm gonna show you how I peel the shrimp for this dish. So now I'm going to put the roses on the other side. So for this one, you're gonna cut in the middle. So just like this. give it a nice cut straight through the end. And then you're gonna lift here, turn around just like this and cut over here. And now you're going to remove the shell in the front. As you can see, I still have the shell on for the last quarter of the shrimp. Because the shrimp, the shell can give the dish a very nice pink red color, so we want to leave the tail on when we cook this dish. So just like this. And then you can remove this black thing, this thing. Okay, and that's it. Then you can keep going with the rest of your shrimp. So towards the end, you're gonna turn your scissors and don't cut all the way through. Leave the shell for the tail on, and then remove the front part. And also remove this thing. So I'm going to make 4. So just like this. So if you are still making the roses, keep working on it. Later on, we're gonna color the roses with some eggs. Okay. Now I have peeled 4 shrimps. Sorry. Okay, now I have 4 pieces. And on the cutting board, we want to prep the shrimp a little bit. So we want the shrimp to stay straight after cooking it. So we have to give it a cut in the middle part of the body. So just like this. So this is the shrimp, place it just like this, and then cut it in the middle. Just slightly give it a cut, don't cut all the way through. So because you give it a nice cut, when you fry it in the pan, it won't curl just like this. We want it to stay straight. So now I've cut 1 and I can cut another one. Two. And now the 3rd one. And now the last one. Okay, 4 beautiful shrimp laying on my cutting board. And now I'm going to make the shrimp pasta. So now you can take 1 dumpling wrapper. So make sure that your hands are dry. I'm gonna use some paper towel to dry up my hands. Now take 1 dumpling wrapper and put a thin layer of the filling in the middle part of your dumpling wrapper, just like this. In the middle, a very thin layer of filling. And now what I'm gonna do is to place the shrimp in the middle, just like this. And you're gonna fold the edges together. And you can use some of the paste we made earlier. So we made the paste using flour and water. So I'm gonna show you here. This was the paste we made earlier on. And you can put some paste on the edges so they can be easily folded together. Okay. Pinch the edges together. And this is a beautiful shrimp pot sticker. Okay, don't worry about the end of the sticker. You can just leave them there. Just like this. A beautiful one. This will look more beautiful when you fry it. So as you can see, it has a tail. It's really complete one. Okay, now I'm gonna make the second one. Still follow the same procedure. First, place one thin layer of filling in the middle. And then you're gonna place the shrimp over the filling and put some paste on the edges. Fold it together. Okay, what a beautiful shrimp dumpling. Another one.
Looks
Yes,
beautiful.
A question? Yeah. It actually tastes amazing. So I wish I could share the final dish with you. Okay, do we have anybody to share with us your dumpling roses? Anybody is making their dumpling roses?
Is anybody cooking along and making roses along, or just we're just watching? Anybody want to share?
Okay. So now you can see I have 3. And because of the time limit, I think I'm going to show you how I cook the pot sticker, because if you want to cook the dumpling roses, it actually takes at least 20 to 30 minutes because it's very hard for you to cook the middle part. But I'll show you how to make it. Okay. So now I have finished all the shrimp dumplings. Okay, 4 beautiful one. Okay, I'm gonna share my screen now to show you how to cook the dumplings. So this was the steps that we went through previously. Okay, so these 4 pictures illustrate how to make the dumpling roses, and these 2 pictures show you how to make the shrimp dumplings. So feel free to take a screenshot for later use. Okay, 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna move on. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, now let's cook the dumplings. So first, you're gonna heat the pot over high heat. So now I'm gonna turn on the heat. And you're gonna add some butter or oil. So I believe that butter tastes better than oil. Okay. If you don't like oil, you can just put tiny bit of it underneath in the center of the pan, and you can use a brush to evenly spray the oil over the pan. And now you can put, after you heat up the pan, you can put the dumplings in the pan and fry over medium heat for 3 minutes. After 3 minutes, you're gonna add 1 milliliter of water in the pan and simmer them until the water is reduced. And because it's really hard to cook the middle section, so I would prefer to add twice, to add 2 milliliter water in the pan. So you can separate the water to twice. And then after the water is reduced, you can add 2 beaten eggs. And it's just going to cook over medium heat until the eggs are cooked. And before that, I'm gonna crack 2 eggs in a bowl.
Zeyu, I
Yes.
wanted to ask a question about the shrimp. Do you prefer a certain size shrimp when you're making the pot stick?
Oh. A regular shrimp will work. So I usually just buy the small size or medium size ones, just regular ones.
Great.
About
Okay, thank you.
$5, yes, $5 to $7 per pound. That's something I look for because I usually don't buy too expensive ones. Okay. And now I'm going to put some oil over the pan, and I can transfer my camera to another station. So to make this dish, I would prefer the shrimp with tail on or with the peel on, with the shell on. So you don't want to, sorry, you don't want to just buy the peeled shrimp. Okay. Yes, I think this is the perfect angle.
Switch the camera now. Is that good?
We don't see that.
Can you see my stove?
I think you'll have to remove stop sharing the
Oh, I see.
slideshow again. Yes, thank you.
I'll see. Okay.
Can everybody see now?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to beat 2 eggs. So if you really want to make the nice golden color, you can just use egg yolk. You don't have to use the white part. But for me, I just use the whole thing. For personal use, nothing special. Okay. So I have added some oil over the pan, and now I'm gonna place the shrimp dumplings over the pan. And make sure that when you are placing the shrimp dumplings, turn down the heat before you place the food in the pan so you don't burn yourself. One.
All okay?
Sorry, very sensitive.
I understand, as long as you're okay.
Give it a couple seconds for it to calm down. Okay, apologize. Apologize for the noise. Okay, now we're gonna add some water, just about 1 cup of water in the pot. And if you have a lid, you can cover the pan and let it simmer until the water is reduced. And you can simmer the dumplings over medium heat. So you can see, we just want the water to be reduced, and also the water will cook the dumplings. So while we are waiting for the water to be reduced, I can show you how to make the dumpling wrappers. So you will need some flour and water. So the ratio of flour and water is 2 to 1. So 100 grams of flour with 50 milliliter of water. And here, FYI, so 50 milliliter of water is exactly 50 grams of water. So just remember the ratio between flour and water is 2 to 1. And you're gonna stir until the flour and water clumps together. You're gonna knead the dough with your fingers. And to prevent the dough from drying, you can add 1 teaspoon of oil. And you're gonna knead the dough for 3 to 5 minutes. After that, cover the dough and let it rest for 15 minutes. After 15 minutes, take out the dough and knead it for 3 minutes. After this, you're gonna cover the dough and let it rest for another 15 minutes. So it's really a long process. So that's why I usually just buy the dumpling wrappers from supermarkets. So this is just half of the procedure. After this, you are going to make a 2-inch in diameter dough, just like this, and cut into 2-inch pieces. Take one and roll it in your palm and make a ball. And you're gonna press the ball and make a thick pie shape. You're gonna roll out the dough and done. So here, I actually didn't have the rolling pin. I just used anything available at home. And you can get your dumpling wrappers. Okay, that's a procedure for making the dumpling wrappers. So what I did previously was cooking the pot sticker for the shrimp dumplings. Yes, so first I fried the dumplings and then I added water to it. After the water is reduced, you can put the beaten eggs into the pan. You're gonna cook until the eggs are cooked. So these two are the two procedures for making the dumpling roses and also the pot stickers. So now I can return to my station to see if the water is reduced. to be a little faster, you can just turn on the heat. So when you are cooking the dumpling roses, because the rose is really thick, you can just cook the roses over low heat. So the steam of the water will fully cook the roses, especially the middle part, so you can see. So the roses are much harder to cook than the pot stickers.
Zeyu,
that's
can I
why-
ask
yes.
you- yeah, I just have a question. So if you were going to make everything from scratch for Chinese New Year, and you know, how much time would you allow if you were doing the wrappers from scratch and then making the roses? How much time would you allow for preparation and cooking?
Okay, great question. So if you're gonna make the dumplings from scratch, just for making the wrappers, if you are a beginner, it will take you 1 hour, at least, just to make the wrappers. And it will take you another 30 minutes to make the dumplings and also cook the dumplings. So about 1.5 hours, I would say. But I think for me, for the first few times I made dumplings, I spent maybe almost 2 hours. But you can take that time. It's a pleasure, it's a fun activity to do, to work on with friends and family. So
Yeah,
I
that
think
sounds
2 hours,
reasonable. That
yeah.
doesn't sound bad, because I could see you could do it as a group.
Yes,
Very nice.
absolutely. I think I made that, I often make dumplings with my roommate, so I just work on the wrappers and my roommate will make the dumplings. And when I was at home, my mom never let me make the dumplings because she didn't trust me. Okay, now the water is reduced, as you can see. I'm going to add the beaten eggs in the pot. And now I'm just going to wait until the egg is cooked. So you can turn the heat to medium low and cover that with a lid. I think it just takes another 2 to 3 minutes. It will be finished. So now I can show you how it looks like. So it looks like this. So because today I just made 4, I placed them in a row. So if you are making 6 pieces or 8 pieces, you can actually make them in a nice shape, in a nice form.
So, Zeyu, we have a question from
Yes.
Emily. What is the purpose of the beaten eggs?
Okay, great question. So the beaten egg is just to add some color to the food. You can simply have the shrimp dumplings without the egg, but let's look at here.
Repeat
So
that last
with-
part. Can you repeat that last part? We missed it.
Yes, so with the egg, we think it looks better. The color looks more rich, I would say, with the shrimp dumplings and the egg on the side. You can also garnish the final dish with some scallions. can see, my dish is ready.
I had a question. In your instructions,
Mhm.
it said that to put 100 milliliters of water and let it
Yes.
reduce. You said to do
Yes.
that. Is that you have to do it twice or just once?
Okay, great question. So for this one, so for the pot stickers, it's really easy for you to be cooked because it's thin and it's really not too much content in each dumpling. But this one, for the roast dumplings, I would suggest to do it twice because if you just do it once, the middle part will still be raw and
Okay.
hard. Mm.
Thank you.
Because the most dangerous part is the meat. We don't want to eat the raw meat. So just for the dumpling roasts, add water twice. That'd be great. Okay, and now you can see this here. Okay. So here, this is the shrimp dumplings with egg. So I prefer the one I present on this photo. So I made 10 pieces so I can make them in a circle. But today, because of the time limit, I made 4, but it also looks pretty good. Just like this.
Looks delicious.
And now I'm gonna,
Wow.
yes. And now I'm gonna garnish this with some sesame seed.
I like the pink color, like you said, with the tail in there. That really looks nice.
Absolutely, yes. So you can see this.
We know that the shrimp are cooked, but how do you know you cooked it enough for the meat inside?
Oh, I see. So for this one, for the shrimp dumplings, I believe that you can just cook this as if you are boiling the regular dumplings.
Okay.
So for regular dumplings, when you boil them, you have to spend about 8 minutes, something like that, 8 minutes to 10 minutes. But because first thing is that we fried these dumplings first for 3 minutes. That's already a process of cooking them. And after frying them, we also steam these dumplings with water. So if you're afraid that these dumplings are not well cooked, you can just give it a try to see if a chopstick or something can be stick inside of it and you can feel the texture of it. But I believe that if you follow the instructions, so first fry these dumplings with oil for 3 minutes and then steam 100 milliliter of water. And I think that would be fully cooked.
Thank you. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So if you are really cautious about whether these dumplings are fully cooked, you can add a little bit more water, like 1.5 cup, and steam the dumplings over medium-low or low heat. So just slowly cook these dumplings. Yes. So
Looks
I wish I could
wonderful.
have, yeah, I wish I could have more time to really make a big circle. So if you have 6 pieces, I think that would be great with some bigger size dumplings. Yes.
That's beautiful.
Okay,
And those
so-
sesame seeds on top there, is that what those are? What is Zeyu, what is
Oh.
sprinkled on top? Is that sesame seeds?
Yes, sesame seeds. So you can use white sesame seeds or black sesame seeds. And also you can just spray some black pepper. This will also work. The black pepper, you can just spray some over the dish. Okay, so that's it. Thank you so much for joining in today. And I enjoyed your company. This
Wonderful.
is the first
Does
time.
anybody
Yeah.
have any last questions for Zeyu?
谢
We
谢
wanna
谢
know
谢大
where you
家。
We want to know where you live because we're coming over for dinner.
Everybody's saying thank you. They can't wait to try
Thank you.
making the dumplings. And my husband had a question. Can you use broth instead of the egg? If you wanted to, can you use chicken broth and cook the dumplings with chicken broth?
Absolutely. If you use instead of using water, do you mean instead of
Yes, he
using-
wanted to know instead of water if you could use broth.
Yes, if you can use broth, I think the flavor will be really rich and nutritious. Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Zeyu, and thank you everybody for joining us tonight. And we hope to see you again tomorrow. Have a nice evening, and thank you again so much. This was wonderful.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you
Happy
so
New
much.
Year， 新年快乐，再见，
Happy
再
New Year.
见，
Bye bye now.
新年快乐，
Bye. Thank you.
新年快乐，再见。